Ava Rose woke up bright and early in her cozy yellow room. The curtains fluttered and sunlight danced on the polka dot rug. Ava, with her two fluffy brown braids and favorite strawberry pajamas, stretched her arms and gave a big yawn. "Today's the big day," she whispered, wiggling her toes under the blanket. "Apple Pie Day." Every autumn, the village of Maple Hill had an apple pie fair. Families brought their best pies to share in the town square, and there was music, dancing, and even a little pie parade. This year, Ava wanted to bake her very own pie, all by herself. Well, mostly by herself. She had a plan, a recipe card, and her lucky red apron with a tiny apple patch sewn by Grandma. Downstairs, Ava's kitty Whiskers was already meowing in the kitchen. He rubbed his soft white fur against her legs as she poured a bowl of crunchy cat food. "Mama, I'm gonna bake my first pie today," Ava called. Mama peeked around the kitchen door, holding a wooden spoon. Her hair was in a messy bun, and her apron had splashes of flour and cinnamon. "A pie? That sounds delicious, Ava. Will you need a helper?" Ava puffed up proudly. "I want to do most of it myself, but maybe you can be my pie guide." Mama smiled. "Then I'll be your guide. Let's check your pie list." Ava pulled out her recipe card. It was a little crinkled and had a doodle of an apple pie with a smiley face. Her list said, apples, sweet and crispy. Cinnamon, smells like hugs. Dough, soft and stretchy. Sugar, just a sprinkle. Butter, for that golden crust. Love, the secret ingredient. "We have cinnamon, sugar, and butter," said Ava, peeking in the pantry. "But we need fresh apples and some flour." "Then it's off to the orchard," said Mama. Ava twirled in her apron. Let the apple pie adventure begin. She packed a small woven basket, tied her braids with apple red ribbons, and slipped on her gumboots. Whiskers tried to climb in the basket, but Ava giggled and gave him a soft pet. The orchard was just down the lane, past the giggling creek and through the sunflower gate. It was a lovely walk, with leaves crunching under her boots and little clouds floating in the sky. As they reached the gate, Ava gasped. The orchard was busy. Bees were buzzing, birds were singing, and lots of families were picking apples. Some kids were playing tag between the trees. Red, green, and golden apples hung from the branches like ornaments on the tree. "Let's pick the best ones," said Ava. She reached up on her tippy toes and plucked a shiny red apple. "This one smells like pie already." They picked until Ava's basket was full of bright, crunchy apples. Mama picked a few extra to munch on the way home. As they turned to leave, an older man in a floppy hat waved at them. It was Mr. Baxter, the orchard keeper. "Baking something special, Miss Ava?" "An apple pie." Ava beamed. "My very first one." Mr. Baxter winked. "Then let me give you the secret apple." He handed her a tiny golden apple that sparkled in the sunlight. "Just one slice in your pie and it'll have extra magic." Ava held it gently. "Thank you, Mr. Baxter. I'll use it for sure." With a basket full of apples and a twinkle in her eyes, Ava skipped home, ready for part 2 of her adventure. Back home in the cheerful kitchen, Ava set her apple basket on the counter with a proud little thunk. Whiskers left on his favorite windowsill, curling up like a cinnamon roll, while Mama tied her own apron and got out the pie-making bowls. Ava placed her special golden apple in a tiny glass dish like a treasure and smiled at it. "You're the sparkle in the pie." Then she rolled up her sleeves. "Okay, Mama Pie Guide, what's next?" Mama handed her a big wooden spoon. "First, let's wash the apples." Ava stood on her kitchen step stool and washed each apple under the cool tap. She held them up one by one, admiring the shiny skins, red as cherries, green as spring grass, and that golden one just like sunshine. They smelled like fresh autumn mornings. "Now slice," Mama said.
Ava used her special slicer, a little round gadget that made perfect apple wedges. Chop, chop, went the slicer as juicy slices slid into the big yellow mixing bowl. Next, she sprinkled in cinnamon. Smells like Grandma's hugs.
Then came a gentle shake of sugar. Ava licked her finger, dipped it in the sugar tin, and giggled. Sweet enough to make a giggle pie! Now it was time for the crust. Mama brought out a bag of flour and a block of cold butter. We mix, mush, and roll. Ava plopped the butter in the bowl and added the flour with care. This part's messy, she warned, and sure enough, poof, a small cloud of flour puffed into the air and landed right on her nose. She sneezed. Achoo! Now I'm a powdered donut! They laughed and mushed the butter and flour together until it looked like tiny crumbs. Ava added a spoonful of cold water and started to squish the dough with her hands. Squish, squish, squish. Great job, Mama said. Let's roll it out. Ava reached for her favorite rolling pin. It had tiny heart shapes on the ends, but paused. Where's my scoopy spoon? She asked suddenly. What scoopy spoon? My lucky wooden scoop. I use it for the filling. It's short, round, it has a carved apple on the handle. They both looked around the kitchen. It wasn't on the counter, not in the drawer, not in the bowl shelves, not in the oops cupboard where mismatched mugs and wonky Tupperware lived. Oh no, Ava cried. It's missing. Whiskers meowed from his windowsill perch. Mama crouched beside her. Do you remember where you used it last? Ava's brow scrunched up tight like a raisin. I used it yesterday. I was playing cooking picnic with my dolls outside. Then let's go find it before the dough gets warm. Ava didn't want to leave her pie halfway done, but her scoop was important. It had helped her mix pretend soups, scoop real cookie dough, and sprinkle oats on bird feeders. It was part of her pie magic. So off they went into the backyard, leaving the golden apple and dough safe on the counter. The yard was sunny and full of leaves. Ava ran to her toy picnic basket near the garden gnome. No scoop. She checked under the picnic blanket. Nope. She peeked in the sandbox. Just a lonely rubber duck. She turned to Mama with a wobble in her voice. What if I lost it forever? Mama gave her a side hug. Then we'll make new magic. Ava sighed. Okay, but I really liked the old magic. Then Whiskers meowed again from the porch. He was pawing at something near the flower pots. Ava dashed over and squealed. My scoopy spoon! It had rolled under the porch steps. With a little stretch and a helpful broom handle for Mama, she reached in and pulled it out. Dusty, but safe. She hugged it. You naughty spoon. Were you trying to go on your own adventure? Back in the kitchen, Ava washed the scoop carefully and gave it a pat. Now we can finish the filling. She used the scoop to pile the sweet, spiced apples into the pie tin, one loving spoonful at a time. Then she added a few thin slices of the golden apple right in the center. Time for the top, Ava said. They rolled the second crust and laid it gently over the apples. Ava used a fork to press the edges and carved a tiny heart right in the middle for steam to peek out. Mama brushed the top with a bit of milk, and Ava added just a pinch of sugar. The pie looked cozy and ready for the oven. Here we go, said Mama, sliding it in. Ava pressed her hands together. Bake up some yum. While the pie baked, the kitchen filled with a smell that made Whiskers stretch, Mama hum, and Ava close her eyes with a dreamy sigh. Tomorrow was the fair.
Would her pie be delicious? Would people like it? Would she drop it on the way? So many questions swirled around, but one thing was certain. The adventure was just heating up. The next morning, Ava woke to the scent of cinnamon, floating all the way up the stairs. She stretched under her polka-dot blanket and grinned. Pie day! She rushed down the stairs in her pink-striped socks, nearly tripping over Whiskers, who was already waiting by the kitchen door with his tail twitching. Mama was at the table, wrapping Ava's pie in a soft gingham cloth. "Good morning, Chef," she greeted with a wink. "Your pie has been cooling overnight, and it smells absolutely scrumptious." Ava tiptoed over and lifted the cloth carefully. There it was, her very first apple pie. The crust was golden with a light sparkle of sugar, and her heart-shaped cutout peeked out proudly from the top. The scent made her tummy do a happy flip. "I can't believe I made it," she whispered, her fingers hovering just above the crust. "Do you think the Pie Fair people like it?" Mama bent down to eye level. "I think they'll love it. And no matter what, it's a pie made with heart, and that's the best kind." Ava nodded. "And don't forget the magic golden apple." She packed the pie gently into her picnic basket with a folded towel underneath so it wouldn't wobble. Whiskers tried to hop in too, but Ava chuckled. "You're not a pie, silly kitty."
They set off for Maple Hill Town Square, where the fair was already blooming with music and chatter. Stalls with red and white striped roofs lined the path. Bunting fluttered between trees, and the scent of apples, cinnamon, and sugar filled the crisp autumn air. Ava's eyes sparkled as she saw kids skipping, families laughing, and a band of chickens in bow ties playing kazoo music. At the center of it all stood a long cable filled with pies, big pies, tiny pies, pies shaped like stars, and even one pie stacked like a castle. "Look, Mama," Ava pointed. "That pie has a whipped cream tower." They approached the pie table, where a kind woman with sparkly glasses and a sunflower apron smiled down at Ava. "Are you here to enter your pie into the tasting?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am. I made it myself. It's got cinnamon, love, and a golden apple from Mr. Baxter." "Ooh, the orchard's golden apple," the woman said, eyes wide. "This'll be special indeed." She placed a tiny name card next to Ava's pie. Ava Rose, Little Baker's entry. Mama squeezed her hand, and Ava's heart fluttered with excitement. Then the mayor, Mr. Tinsley, who always wore a polka-dotted bow tie and carried a walking stick with a squirrel carved on top, rang a little brass bell. "Pie friends, gather near. The annual Maple Hill Pie Parade begins in 1 hour. If you'd like to be in the parade, get your pie wheels and wagons ready." Ava blinked. "Pie parade?" Mama smiled. "It's new this year. Everyone walks through town with their pie in a decorated wagon or cart. It's just for fun, and the best decorated pie cart gets a ribbon." Ava's brain whirled with ideas. "I need a cart." They hurried over to the Crofts' corner, where old wagons and wooden crates were stacked high. Ava found a small red wagon with wobbly wheels, just her size. "We can decorate it like an apple tree," she said. Mama pulled out a craft box from her tote bag, full of markers, yarn, leaves, glue dots, and even a mini roll of brown paper. Ava wrapped the sides in brown to make a tree trunk. She cut big, leafy shapes out of felt and stuck them on with yarn vines. Then she added red paper apples and even a tiny cardboard ladder going up the side. Whiskers, of course, tried to bat the ladder with his paw. By the time they were done, the little red wagon looked like an apple tree on wheels. Ava gently placed her pie inside, added a bow to the basket handle, and stood back. "What do you think?" Mama clapped. "It's the most delicious-looking apple tree I've ever seen." Ava beamed as the parade bell rang again.
Pie parade participants, line up near the tulip fountain, called Mr. Tinsley, waving his squirrel stick in the air. Ava joined the line, standing proudly with her pie tree wagon. Kids around her had all sorts of carts. One looked like a flying saucer, another like a pumpkin patch, and someone even had a pie on a mini train. As the parade began, cheerful music played and families lined the sidewalks to wave and jeer. Ava pulled her wagon gently, her braids bouncing, and her heart thumping with pride. She saw Mr. Baxter from the orchard wink and cheer, "Go Golden Apple Girl." Whiskers peeked out from Mama's tote bag, meowing like a tiny parade float himself. Ava felt warm all over. Her pie was in the parade. Her pie was part of the fair. And even if she didn't win a ribbon, this felt like the best adventure ever. But little did Ava know, the biggest pie surprise was still to come. As the pie parade wound its way around the tulip fountain, through Maple Hill's cobbled paths and into the grassy center of town, Ava's wagon rolled smoothly along. The apple tree decorations fluttered a little in the breeze, and her pie, tucked safely in the basket, sat snug and still. Children waved paper flags. A band of banjo players strummed cheerful tunes. One little girl with butterfly wings shouted, "I want to eat that tree pie." Ava giggled and waved. Everything felt warm and fun, until something very not fun happened. Bump. A wobble, a roll, a jolt. "Oh no," Eva cried, pulling her wagon to a sudden stop. One of the wagon's front wheels had caught on a tree root poking through the grass. The wagon tilted sharply to the left, and her pie basket slid sideways. She lunged for it just in time, catching the handle with both hands, but the gingham cloth fluttered off and her pie wobbled dangerously. Mama rushed over. "You okay?" Ava nodded, breathless.
I caught it, but
She peeked under the pie crust. The edge had smushed. A small chunk of the golden brown crust had crumbled, and one wedge of apple filling was now peeking out. It didn't look quite so perfect anymore. Ava's bottom lip wobbled. "It's ruined." Mama crouched beside her. "It's still beautiful, and it smells amazing. But the crust is cracked," Ava sighed. "Everyone else's pies looked so neat. Now mine's just broken." Before Mama could answer, the kind woman with sparkly glasses and the sunflower apron appeared again. "Everything all right, little baker?" Ava showed her the pie. "Oh, a crack in the crust?" the woman said gently. "Well, that just means it's excited to show off its filling." Ava blinked. "Really?" She nodded. "Some folks call that a peekaboo pie, when the filling says hello." Ava smiled just a little. "But if you're worried, we can give it a tiny patch. Come with me." They wheeled the cart gently toward the craft tent again, where the pie table was nearby. The woman opened a cooler and pulled out a small pouch of extra crust dough used for decorating pies with shapes. Ava molded a little apple shape and placed it gently over the cracked part, just where the filling showed. Then she added a tiny cinnamon stick as a stem. "There," said the woman. "Now it's got a story." Ava beamed. "Thank you." Just then, a friendly bell rang again. "Pie tasting begins in 5 minutes," Mr. Tinsley called. Ava carried her pie to the long table again, this time more carefully. Her heart beat fast. All around, people were offering samples. There were peach pies, plum pies, nut pies, and even a carrot pie shaped like a bunny. "Would you like to share some of your pie with visitors?" Mama asked gently. Ava hesitated. She'd worked so hard on it. What if nobody liked it? Then she looked at the cracked crust with its new little apple patch. "Okay," she said quietly. "Just a few slices." They placed it on a plate, and Ava used her lucky scoopy spoon to serve the first wedge. A little boy with frosting on his nose took a bite and said,
This tastes like warm hugs. A grown-up with sparkly earrings nodded, chewing thoughtfully. Did I taste golden apple? Just a hint of sparkle? I may be. Slice after slice disappeared. People said it was buttery, cozy, sweet but not too sweet, and that the apples were perfect. Is this your first pie? Eva nodded, cheeks pink. Well, it's a masterpiece. I can taste the love. Her heart swelled like a warm balloon. Then something unexpected happened. Mr. Tinsley took the stage beside the pie table. He cleared his throat and tapped the squirrel-headed cane on the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, pie labbers big and small, it's time to announce our special ribbons for today's fair. Everyone gathered around, Eva hugging Mama's hand tightly. Mr. Tinsley listed off ribbon after ribbon. Most colorful pie cart goes to Juno's Jelly Bean Train. Tallest pie goes to Berry and the Whipped Cream Tower. Most inventive flavor goes to Kaleidoscope Carrot Crunch. Eva held her breath. And finally, Mr. Tinsley announced, our ribbon for Best Heart Pie, a pie made with heart, story, and sparkle, goes to Ava Rose for her peekaboo apple pie. Gasps and tears rang out. Ava's mouth dropped open. Me? Mr. Tinsley handed her a yellow ribbon with a heart-shaped charm in the center. This part may have cracked, but it showed us something even better, that sometimes a little crumble leads to a lot of love. Everyone clapped. Ava's eyes glistened, and she held her ribbon high. Her pie hadn't been perfect, but it had heart, and that made it wonderful. As the sun dipped behind the hills and the sky turned soft shades of lavender and honey gold, Maple Hill's pie fair slowly turned into a twinkling evening party. Paper lanterns lit up along the trees. Children chased each other with ribbons. A gentle band played fiddles and flutes beneath the fairy lights. Ava sat on a blanket near the pond with Mama, her ribbon pinned proudly to her apron. The golden heart charm sparkled every time she moved. Whiskers snoozed beside her, curled into a purring buff. I still can't believe I got a ribbon, Ava whispered. Mama smiled and passed her a warm mug of apple cider. You earned it, sweetheart. It wasn't just a pie, it was your adventure. That ribbon says your pie had heart. Ava sipped the cider. It tasted better after the crack. Maybe that little pie slice problem helped people see how special it really was. Ava thought about that for a moment. So, even pie mistakes can be part of the story? Mama nodded. The best stories always have a twist or two. As darkness settled, Mr. Tinsley returned with his squirrel cane, tapping gently on the band's wooden stool. Now then, he said with a grin, before we end the night, we have one last bit of pie fun. Everyone who entered a pie today gets to come up and make a pie star wish. A what? Asked Emma. Mr. Tinsley chuckled. Come see. Near the fountain stood a large wooden board shaped like a giant apple. Next to it was a basket full of shiny gold paper stars and a box of crayons. Write your wish on a star, explained the sunflower apron lady, and pin it to the apple. Tomorrow morning, it'll be placed in the town bakery window for everyone to see. Eva's eyes sparkled. A pie wish? She carefully took a star and crayon, sat cross-legged on the grass, and thought. She could wish for more pie, or a wagon with no wobbles, or maybe a bakery of her own someday. But as she looked around at the smiling families, the soft music, and Whiskers licking his paw, she knew exactly what to write. I wish everyone gets to feel proud of something they make, with a little help and a lot of heart. She added a tiny doodle of a pie and a heart, then tiptoed up and pinned her star to the board. Soon the apple shape was covered in golden stars, twinkling under the lantern glow. As the band played its final gentle tune, fireflies floated up from the grass like tiny floating lights. Children giggled, trying to catch them in cupped hands. Ava lay back on the blanket, watching the stars and lights above.
Mama? Yes, love? Can we bake another pie tomorrow? Maybe a blueberry one? And maybe I could teach someone else how to scoop and mush and roll? Mama looked over, eyes warm. I think that sounds like the perfect plan. Whiskers gave a soft, sleeping meow of agreement. Ava smiled and hugged her ribbon close. She had started with apples and a dream. She'd lost her scoop, fixed a crack, and made a pie with a peekaboo patch. She had shared slices, seen smiles, and even made a starry wish. Now she knew something very important. Every pie and every person has their own story. And the best adventures are the ones made with a little love, a little mess, and a lot of heart. The fair slowly quieted, the lanterns gently dimmed, and one small girl with apple red ribbons in her braids drifted to sleep under the stars, dreaming of pie crusts, parades, and maybe even a bakery of her own. Sunlight peeked through Ava's bedroom curtains, warming the soft polka dot rug and tickling the tips of her little braids as she sat up in bed with a yawn. "Whiskers?" she mumbled sleepily, rubbing her eyes. A soft "murra" came from the windowsill. Whiskers was there, tail swishing, eyes wide as he watched a squirrel on the fence below. Ava stretched and grinned. Today feels like a blueberry pie day. She skipped downstairs, still in her pie print pajamas. In the kitchen, Mama was humming and pouring oats into a bowl. "Morning, little baker," Mama said. "Did you dream of crusts and cinnamon swirls?" "I dreamed my pie opened a bakery, and all the pies were hats," Ava said with a giggle. Mama smiled. "That sounds about right." Ava looked over at the counter where yesterday's ribbon still lay. She picked it up gently, tracing the heart charm with her finger. "It really happened, didn't it?" Mama nodded. "It really did. And your wish is hanging in the bakery window this very minute." Ava's eyes lit up. "Can we go see it?" Right after breakfast. They ate toast and apples with honey, and Whiskers, of course, got his saucer of warm milk. After breakfast, Ava got dressed in her favorite overalls, with the little pie patch on the pocket, and laced up her red boots. She tucked the ribbon into her bag, just in case she wanted to show it to anyone. They ate toast and apples with honey, and Whiskers, of course, got his saucer of warm milk. After breakfast, Ava got dressed in her favorite overalls with a little pie patch on the pocket and laced up her red boots. She tucked the ribbon into her bag, just in case she wanted to show it to anyone. They walked through town, past the tulip fountain and now empty pie table, toward the little bakery on the corner of Maple Hill Lane. The door was open and the smell of cinnamon and yeast floated out like a friendly wave. In the big front window, the golden apple-shaped board stood tall, still covered with twinkling wish stars. Ava spotted hers in the middle, her handwriting a little wobbly but proud. "I wish everyone gets to feel proud of something they make, with a little help and a lot of heart." Mama put an arm around her. "Looks like some other kids added their wishes this morning." One said, "I wish I could make chocolate chip pies that sing." Another said, "I wish to open a pie stand and give free pies to everyone feeling sad." Ava's heart filled like a pie pan with warm filling. "Do you think my wish helped?" "I think your wish is still helping," Mama said. Just then, a voice called from inside the bakery. Well, if it isn't the pie parade champion herself. It was Mrs. Maple, the town baker. She wore a flour-dusted apron and had a pencil stuck behind her ear. Her cheeks were as pink as strawberry tarts. "I saved a slice of your pie from yesterday." She held out a small plate with Ava's patch crust apple pie. Ava's eyes widened. "You saved it? Mrs. Maple nodded. It's too lovely not to remember. Want to come inside and try something new with me? Ava turned to Mama. Can I? Mama smiled. Of course. Inside the cozy bakery, Mrs. Maple showed Ava how to use the big wooden rolling pin, how to cut little dough leaves with a cookie cutter, and even how to use a piping bag to swirl cream in curly loops. Together they worked on a small blueberry pie with tiny heart-shaped cutouts all along the edge. Ava added just a pinch of cinnamon, because it smells like hugs, she said. As the pie baked, Mrs. Maple leaned down and whispered, I have a thought, Ava Rose. Ava looked up. How would you like to come by on weekends? Be my little pie apprentice. You've got pie hands and pie heart. Ava's mouth dropped open like a gaping pie crust. Really? Me? Mrs. Maple winked. You already know the most important ingredient. Ava looked at her hands, still a little sticky with flour. Love? And maybe a little mess, too? Mrs. Maple chuckled. Later, Ava left the bakery with a warm blueberry pie in her arms, Whiskers poking his head out of the tote, and Mama holding her hand. As they strolled home, the town square peaceful and full of morning light, Ava looked up at the sky and whispered, Thank you, Golden Apple. Because a little apple, a little scoop, and a whole lot of heart had turned one autumn day into the beginning of a brand new adventure. And as the birds chirped and leaves danced in the breeze, one little baker knew this was only the very first slice of many sweet stories to come.